Okay. Okay. Hello, guys. Good evening. Sorry for that glitch. Okay. So let's kick on. Just give me a moment, guys. I lost my tute. I'll quickly recover and get you all. Just handle for a moment. Right? Can someone confirm me that you all can hear me? Just drop me a message or something. Say hello or hi, whatever.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Okay. So let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Okay, guys. So thank you. Thank you for that confirmation. So what we are going to do in this session, in this TRG session, um, so I know that you guys are getting ready for your exams. So we are not going to go back to your theories again. Okay. So when I say that we are not going to go back to your theories again, it doesn't mean that we are not going to discuss anything. Okay. So we are going to practice questions because when it comes to the law paper, you need to understand, am I in a position to understand the questions which is given to me? Do I understand the requirement? So you need to practice yourself. Because you will be more sound with your theory now. You would have started your revisions, I expect. Okay. You would have started your revisions, you would have prepared your summary notes. So you are thorough enough to do the paper. However, you need to see how well you can deal with questions. So now in this session that we are going to literally focus with the exam format itself. So in your exam format, you will get 2 hours to attend this paper. How many hours? 2 hours. So if you ask me, sir, is the time is enough? That's more than enough. I would say more than enough to finish this paper. The 2 hours is enough. So you got two sections. You got two sections, section A and section B. So in the section A, you will get 45 questions. All you need to answer. It's must. Everything needs to be attempted. As well as you will get 5 questions in the section B. So mostly the 45 questions that you're getting in the section A will be multiple choice questions. Then in the section B, the task questions. Okay. So based on the case, they will ask you some questions that you need to answer. So our plan is to answer this paper today. Okay. So if we do not cover within the day, then we might start or we might switch to the next class and finish it off. More often than not, we would finish it off. Right. Apart from that, what I wanted to highlight is now in this session, what we are going to do is you got 45 MCQs. 45 MCQs and 5 task questions. So how we are going to do is we do the first 10 MCQs and then 1 task questions. Then the second set, then 1 task question, then the third set, then 1 task question. Likewise, we are going to complete this paper so that we are not bored. And I want you to be active. I want you all to answer to the questions. Okay. So in this revision class, don't expect me to do things 100%. Okay. So why sir is saying that he's not going to do 100%, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to explain you things 100%. Okay. But what I'm trying to say to you is you need to work more. That is revision, because you need to sit for the exams. So first, I will give time for you all to attend these MCQs. For an example, I will share this in your screen at the moment. You need to read it. Think that you are getting this MCQ or this question in your exam. So if you are getting these questions at your exam, how you will handle these questions, and try to mark your answers and see out of first 10 how much you're getting. Okay, now it is a self review. I would say it's a self review. It doesn't mean that if you score even 1 point or even if you score 10 points, I don't mind. Okay, the thing is, you need to understand where you are standing. Do you understand the question? So when we discuss the questions, then you need to see, okay, where you would have missed. Okay, right. So without any further delay, I hope you understood our plan. So this is more practical, because I don't want to beat around the bush saying that you need to focus on these, you need to do these, you need to do that. No, nothing. Directly, we are going to see some questions, some mock papers, and we see how we can handle these questions. Okay, so let's kick on. So your time starts now. So first three questions is this. I want everyone to attend and then drop your answers in the chat box. Okay, we can create polls, right, to vote. Just give me a moment so that, yeah, we can create. So let me see how I can push things. Yeah, so I can say question one. So everyone can add your choices. You got three choices for the question one. Right. Can you all see the polls?
Yes.
You can see the polls, right? Everyone? Yeah. So first, let's, yeah, good. So that everyone is aware what we are answering. So we'll go question by question. Okay. So let's see the first question. Good. Good. People are thinking. Okay. This guy is annoying. Okay, fine. So let's see. The first question is, shall we discuss? Yeah, I hope we can discuss. So out of seven, only four people have answered. So others, no choices. So like, I think it is including me, seven people. Hey, someone just drop a message in the group saying that we have started so that others remind. Sometimes they might have forgot to join. Right. Anyways, now see, the question is, in which of the following courts, so you know your court structure, do all criminal cases begin? So which means from which courts you are going to file all the criminal cases at the beginning. Is it at county court? Is it at crown court or magistrate court? So 60% is voting to crown court. Okay. So 40% is voting for magistrate court. Guys, remember, all criminal cases starts or begins with magistrate court. Okay. Then, if there are more serious cases, that will move to crown court. Okay, what happened to my screen? Something went wrong, right? Okay. I think I lost my screen sharing. Can you see, sir? Guys? Okay. So all serious cases, okay? So generally, all the criminal cases will begin with magistrate court, okay? So if the cases are more serious, if the cases are becoming more serious, okay, then what happens? It moves to the crown. So if the cases are more serious, then it will move to the crown court. Then what happens? What sort of things that county courts deal? County courts are mainly dealing with what? Civil cases. County courts are mainly dealing with what cases? Civil cases. Understood? Okay. Any doubts in understanding that? So it's a very simple question there. So they are asking now for this question, you will earn only 1 mark. So you can mark yourself. So you will get only 1 mark here. So now you can see how much you have scored. Okay. Right. Now the second question. So let me create a poll for that. Okay. So to the second question, I will add 4 choices. Save sales meeting poll. Yeah. Can you start? Is the poll is started? Can you all see the poll, guys? Okay, hold on. Let me see what has happened. I think it didn't get hosted. So on the title, poll 2. So I can say question 2, add your choices. Okay. So you can say single choice, save, save. Right. I hope now it's visible. Only 2 have answered. Okay, shall we end the poll? Only three have answered. Others I'm waiting for. Guys, please answer to the question. So it will be interesting for us to discuss. I'm not judging you all whether you are getting the correct answer or the wrong answer. That's all good. No. I'll give you all another 20 seconds. Okay, let's end the poll. Right. Now let's see the answer. Now see, Joan holds 100 shares in Box Limited. The directors of Box Limited have announced that she will be granted one share for every five share that she is holding. So the shares will be issued and fully paid up. So what they're trying to mean here. Now see, what is the name given to such allocation of shares? They're asking what is the name given to such allocation? Is it a right issue? Is it a bonus issue? Is it a capital issue? Is it a special issue? Guys, if shares are fully paid up, if shares are fully paid up means in this case, what they're trying to mean, the directors have announced that she will be granted one share for every five shares that she hold. The shares will be fully paid up means company is giving the shares freely. So if company is providing shares freely, we call it as bonus issue. We call it as what? A bonus issue. Then what is right issue? Right issue, you are not issuing for free. Right issues, you are giving to the existing shareholders. Right issues means what? You are providing or you are providing new shares. You are providing, or in other terms, I can say allocating new shares to the existing existing shareholders at a discounted price. So when I say at a discounted price, now this discounted price needs to be discounted at nominal value or par value. This discounted price needs to be discounted at nominal value or par value. Always remember, nominal value and the par value is the same. It needs to be discounted at issue price. What price? It needs to be discounted at issue price, which means the market price. You can't, you can't sell a share lower than the what prices? You can't sell a share lower than its nominal price, but you can sell a share or you can issue a share lower than its issue price. Always remember. So that is right issue. Bonus issue means you are giving free shares. You are giving free shares to the existing holders at a discounted price. Okay. So up to the question number two. Any questions if you have, you can just drop down so we can discuss in the meanwhile. Okay. So now let's create another poll for the question number three. Okay. So now let's go with another poll. This times it's Q3. So I will add choices, save, save as meeting board, and launch it. Okay, now your time starts. It's a 1 mark questions. Take 1 minute and 30 seconds, or take 2 minutes. I don't mind. Take 2 minutes. Good. I see only three have answered so far out of six. Good. Only one is pending to answer. Okay. Let me end the poll in 5 seconds. Right. Your time is done. So now see, the question is in the context of the sources of law. In the context of the sources of law, what is statutory instrument? So this you would have discussed in your chapter 1, isn't it? You know what is a statutory instrument? A statutory instrument is a form of what? Delegated legislation that allows ministers powers to be exercised. So statutory instrument is, now you can't take all your decisions on your own. So when it becomes the government can't take all the decisions on their own. So they delegate some powers to the ministers because they will be specialized in that area to make decisions. In order to make decisions, they need rights and powers. So a statutory instrument is the document which correlates or which mentions these decisions to be exercised. So statutory instrument means it's a form of delegated legislation that allows ministers to exercise their powers. Okay. So it is not a tool used by parliament in process of developing a primary legislation. No. Remember, it is not a primary legislation. It's secondary. Okay. Then a right granted in the UK human rights. No, that's not necessary. Right. The fourth one. So let's go with another poll for the fourth one. Yes. Oh, you all can read the question. No more. One is four. Okay. And give your answers. Right, let's see. Can give you few seconds. Okay. Now see in this question, which of the following is an indication that the person is self-employed rather than unemployed? So you need to find which supports self-employment. So the person has the ability to delegate work to others. So as an employee, can you delegate work to others? You can't. Now this term sounds like it is supporting the self-employed person because a self-employed person has the ability to delegate his work to some. Then the person
Sir,
is yes.
sir, a person who is delegating work to others can also be a manager, right? So at the end of the day,
That's
he's still an
managers.
employee.
Yeah, good. That's manager's responsibility. You got it. Now you need to find a solution here in these terms, which mostly preferring that the self-employment person to be recognized. So the person paid a salary. So when a person paid a salary, self-employment people is also paid a salary based on the contract, or else we call them as wages also at times. Okay. This option is directly an employee will get a month-end salary, a prescribed salary, but a self-employed person is not. But it depends on contracts in practical terms. Okay, I'll come back to that. Then the person is told how they should perform their job, isn't it? So you need to train your employees how you need to work. But for a self-employed person, you are not going to train. Self-employed person, he is coming with his own skills, talents. Okay. So he is already knowing the subject. So he knows the subject already. So this does not count or supports self-employed. Okay. Or next thing, the person has their work tools provided to them. Okay. How do you like? Is this the answer you chose? I don't know who spoke to me, but the one who said when I say about the delegation, is this the answer you chose? The fourth one.
Yes, I chose it because I thought the top three won't really work. So I thought this will be the only choice.
No,
And
no,
that's
no
it.
worries. I, I don't want why you didn't choose that. That's all good. It's good. Everyone is learning, right? Even myself, I'm also learning here. So every one of us are learning. So we are going to see how we are going to address this problem. Let's assume a similar question pops out in our exam question. So then how we are going to deal with it. Okay. Now see the last option. The person has their work tools provided to them. So provided to them means generally the work tools will be provided by the company to the employee to work for them. Okay. Now let's assume I'm hiring a plumber. So that plumber will bring his own tools and do his work and go. Okay. So he has the ability to appoint someone under him to work. Okay. Now let's assume there are some issues in your washroom. So you are going to hire a plumber. So I'm a plumber, let's assume. So I'm going to come and repair. So I have too many other works to attend, too many other houses to attend. So I send one of my employee who is working with me. So I can delegate one of my tasks to my trainee or to my employee to come and do your work. Okay. In this situation, a self-employed person has the ability to delegate his work. So when it comes to managers, I'll come to explain that point. Manager is not delegating his work. Manager's responsibility to allocate work of that respective employee and monitor it, whether they are doing or not. You got it? Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Or are you confused? Hello? I'm talking to everyone and the person who asked me the question. Okay. So in this situation, if the manager, a manager is an employee, okay, he is allocating work to some. He is allocating work to some. So when he allocates work to someone which is already prescribed, he is delivering. It is not transferring his workload to someone. That is not manager's duty. Manager's workload, manager needs to do. Employees' workload only he is distributing among the employees. So it is not delegation of job. Okay. So in this point, in this situation, if the person who is having the ability to delegate work to others sounds more supportive to consider it as self-employment than the other points what they have given. All the other points is supporting to an employee. Right. Now let's go to the fifth one. So let me create another file. Q5. Save, save. Oh, there are only three options. You can choose three options. Okay. Don't use the fourth one. Okay, let me end the poll. Right. Now see the fifth one. Which of the following is a condition that must be met in order for a principal to ratify the actions of an agent? So ratify the actions of an agent. The ratification must occur immediately after the contract is formed. The ratification must be agreed with the third party. The principle must have existed when the contract was formed. So, guys, in order to ratify the contract, okay, so in terms of ratifying the contract, I would say in terms, ratifying the contract. You can note this down if you want. The principle, first point is the principle must exist. The principle must exist. That's important. When the principle must exist when it was formed, it is important. Then the next point, I would say, ratification should take place within a reasonable period of time. So it should take place within a reasonable period of time. So it needs to take place within a reasonable period of time. Right. Then also you need to make sure it is communicated. It is communicated to the third party. Right. I open up one page. Can you see these points? So I will repeat it. So the thing, in order to ratify a contract, the first thing you need to understand, the principle must exist. The principle must have existed when it was formed. Then that ratification should take place within a reasonable period of time. That's important. Also, the ratification should be communicated to the third party. But now in this question, let's see. Now, this is the points that you need to remember in terms of ratification of a contract. So in this question, let's see, which of the following is a condition must be met for a principal to ratify the actions of an agent? Ratification must occur immediately. Should it occur immediately? No, I didn't say it is immediately. It needs to happen within a reasonable period of time. It needs to happen within a reasonable period of time, not immediately. So option one is not my answer. Then ratification must be agreed with the third party. It needs to be communicated. It's not to the third party. It needs to be communicated. So that the principle must have existed when the contract was formed. The principle must be existed
அங்க
when the
புதிய பிரைம்
contract was
மினிஸ்டர் என்ன அங்க
yes.
புதிய பிரைம் மினிஸ்டர்
Someone's mic is unmuted, right? I think I overhear everyone. Okay. So in this instance, the principle must have existed when the contract was formed should be your answer. Okay. Right. Makes sense? So in terms of ratifying a contract, in terms of a principal and an agent, you need to make sure the principle should exist. Then it needs to happen within a reasonable period of time. The ratification must occur within a reasonable period of time, and it needs to be communicated to the third party. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. And let's move to the next one. So I'll create a quick poll for you all to answer. You can make your choice till then. So I would say question number 6. So you got 3 choices. Save the meeting to the poll and let's launch. Why? Why I can't post this? Something goes wrong, guys. Okay, till then, no worries. You all can choose an answer and drop the chat. Okay, now I think it is available. Okay, let's see. The sixth one, it's an easy one, right? It says, what is the minimum notice period that a person who has been employed for 18 months is entitled to? Guys, if you are employed and if a person is employed between 1 month and 2 years, employed between 1 month and 2 years, then he or she is entitled to receive 1 week of notice. How many weeks? 1 week of notice. We need to give a notice period of 1 week only. So here 18 months is falling in between 2 years, right? So it's in between 1 month to 2 years. 1 month to 2 years. So anything between this, it will fall for 18. So this is 18 months. So you have to give a notice period of 1 week. Okay. So now let's go to the option or the question 7. You can start reading that. Let me create a poll for you. Only 4 have answered. I'm waiting for the other 2. Okay, good. Let's see. Most of them have chosen 1. So let's see. It should be the answer if we are correct. Let's see. In the event of unlimited liability of the partnership being terminated, which of the following liabilities are repaid next once all the external debts are settled? So as soon as you are settled, do you need to settle the partner's loan advances provided? Or do you need to settle their capital provided? Or you need to pay the profit? The As soon as in the event of liquidation, guys, in your ladder, you need to settle your creditors before you are settling your owners. So this capital contribution is your ownership. So this will be settled last. And then if you have anything left over as profits, then it will be shared. So in the ranking wise, this will go first, this will go second, and this will go third. Now, what is this partner's loan advances? The loans provided to the business by the individual partners. So that is a loan. That is not a capital that they have contributed. That is something else that they have produced in the form of liabilities to the business organization. So that is their personal money, which they have given to the business as a loan. Okay. So when you are repaying at the event of liquidation, first you need to settle your creditors and then only you need to make your shares to your owners. Right. Question number 8. So let me create a poll for that. Okay. Get your answers for the question number 8. It's an easy one. Only 50% have answered. If you're in my theory class, you would have answered all these questions very easily. Whatever we have discussed there, it is directly appearing here. Okay, fine. Now see, a declaration of solvency is required to commence which of the following? Declaration of solvency means what? You need to inform that your business is in a solvent position to continue. So when you say solvent means, do you have enough money to continue? Do you have enough assets to continue your business? If not, you will be considered as insolvent. Okay. So in which of the following requirement it is necessary when you need to declare your solvency? Is it a creditor's voluntary liquidation, a compulsory liquidation, an administration? No. When members want to liquidate the business, members wants to liquidate, which means your shareholders is going to shut down the business, then they need to tell why they are shutting down the business. So they need to provide us a declaration of solvency. So in that solvency statement, they will say, our business is not solvent enough to continue the business operation. So we, as shareholders, we are trying to walk back. At this situation, you need to provide a declaration of solvency. So a declaration of solvency is important to commence a member's voluntary liquidation. Right. Now let's move to the ninth one. Excuse me. Ninth one, you got 4 options. Sorry, guys. Let me take some water. In that you can answer the question. I'm, I'm waiting for everyone to give me a solution. Okay, let's see. Let's end the poll. To this question, most of you will answer to the choice one. Few for option 2 and option 3. No one for option 4. Let's see what is the option. Which of the following is a ground for disqualifying a director under model articles of association? Under model articles. Okay. So what is model articles? The articles which is formed by the state, which means the statute. In absence of your articles of association, model articles of association will apply. So if you don't have an articles of association within your business, then you need to refer to the terms of model articles. So under model articles, which is calling for disqualifying a director, breach of a fiduciary duty, failure to meet a statutory duty. If a director is failure or breaking the terms of the service of the contract or becoming bankrupt. Now, this is a very good question. A director is becoming or a director is getting disqualified or becoming disqualified under the model articles at a situation of becoming bankrupt. When you're becoming bankrupt, then automatically under the model articles, okay, in accordance to the model articles of association, a director is getting disqualified. So that is the option which is available in terms of qualifying or disqualifying a director under the model articles. Read your theoretical aspects in these sides very well. So breach of a fiduciary duty does not mean a disqualifying a director. Failure to meet a statutory duty is not you're going to disqualify a director. Breaking the terms of the service contract, also you're not going to disqualify the director under model articles of association. You might have your own way of disqualifying your director, that's fine. But under model articles, these things are not stated. In model articles, it is when you're becoming bankrupt, then the director is automatically disqualified. Right. Let's move to the option 10. Oh, sorry, not option 10, the question number 10. And then once we are done with the question number 10, let's go to a scenario kind of question. So question number 10, you got three choices. So your poll is created. It's loading. Yeah. Right, let's discuss. Now, see, in which occasion the company qualify for or qualifying for exemption from audit. So where there is an exemption for you not to be audited. A public company with a turnover of 1 million and balance sheet total of 2 million, public companies always needs to be audited. Public companies always needs to be audited. So option one, the public companies does not have any exemption. They needs to be audited. So option one is not your answer. Then a private company's turnover of 11 million and a balance sheet total of 6 million. No. If a private company, if they have a turnover of less than 10.2 million, we studied it as 10.2 million and a balance sheet total of 5.1 million means then they are exempted for audit. Are they exempted for audit? Only if they will get the exemption for audit if their turnover is 10.2. Okay, the turnover is should be less than 10.2 or your total balance sheet needs to be less than 5.1 million. Then you get an exemption. In this case, this company is having 11 million and 6 million as the balance sheet total. So they needs to be qualified for an audit or they are qualifying for auditor. A dormant company whom have not started their operations, they are very silent. So what to audit there? So a dormant company is automatically getting exempted from auditing. Okay. So auditing is not compulsory in a private company unless if your assets or your annual turnover is less than 10.2 million. If it is exceeding that, then you need to audit your company. Which company? Private company. Public company, you don't have any exemptions. You that needs to be audited. Okay, all the accounts needs to be audited in a public company.
Yeah,
Okay,
sir.
yes.
If you don't mind, elaborate a bit on the dormant company.
Okay, so guys, what is a dormant company? Dormant means what? Others, before I give you an explanation, what do you mean by dormant? First, you need to understand the word dormant. A dormant company means you have started a company, you have registered a company, but you have not started any transactions. You have not doing any business operations so far. So you are a dormant company. So a company has been started and then the company has not started its operations. So it is not in action or not active in other terms. So if you have registered the company and if you have not started operations, then we call those companies as dormant companies. We call those companies as dormant companies. Is that clear? Do you understand what is a dormant company?
Yes.
Yeah. Then now let's move to the section B question. To the section B question, I'm not going to issue a poll. Okay, let me share my screen and split my screen first. Okay. So here is your section B. Okay. You got two requirements. So first read the case. I'll give you all some time. Okay. So I give you 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes would do. It's more than enough. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes. So within 10 minutes, we are going to discuss, read the case, understand it, then choose the correct answer for the questions requirements A and B. So here you need to say true and false. Okay. Not getting the final answer is your success. You need to understand and assume how you are arriving at that answer. Okay. Right. Now your time starts. It's 7:04. By 7:14, I will discuss this question. Right after this discussion, we can take a break for prayers, okay? I'll give you a break to prayers. Anyways, I'll be giving right after this question. Let's go for a break and come so you all can pray. At what time the Isha? Because I'm here, the Isha is around 8 o'clock. I'm in India. So in Sri Lanka, what's the time? I think it's around 7:50 or 40, right? 7:45. Yeah, before 7:45, I'll give you the break. Okay. Um, if we all have done, we can discuss this question. Let's discuss this question and then let's go for a break and come. Now, seeing this question, Adam, who operates an accountancy practice, charges £1,000 per year, producing business accounts for tax purposes. Unfortunately, he has some difficulty in recovering his fees from two clients as follows. Let's see the two clients. So the first client, Bob, is a car mechanic. Bob is a car mechanic, told Adam that he could only raise cash to pay half of his fees, but that he would service Adam's car for the coming year. But Adam reluctantly agreed to this proposal. Okay. Now see, Bob is a car mechanic. So Adam is giving accountancy services or auditing services, whatever services to the Bob. So Bob is paying only half of the fee, but the rest he could not pay. However, Adam is saying that, or Bob is saying to Adam, okay, I'll service your car for the next year. And Adam also agreeing to that proposal. Then, next thing, Don. So Don, not a very successful musician, also told Adam that she could only pay half of the money she owed him as she needed to use the other half to finance her new recording. Once again, Adam agreed to accept the half payment. Now, in this situation, Adam is agreeing to accept the half payment. Dawn's recording subsequently becoming a major hit. So she is making a profit of £100,000 from it. Okay. So she's making £100,000 from her new recording. Adam himself's now in a financial difficulty. Okay. And needs cash to pay his own tax bill. Let's see. Let's see the questions. Which of the following statements concerning Adam's agreement with Bob is correct? So, what are your choices, guys? Share your choices with me. So, if I say one, two, three, four, what are your choices? Did you make any choice? Okay, let me come from the bottom. Okay, only 2% have responded. Others? Should I create a poll for this? Now, see, let's see the requirements. Adam cannot require Bob to pay his full balance in full because he is prevented by the unfair contract terms 1977. This is irrelevant in this case. This is not applicable at all. Anyone have chose option 4 is not your answer. Adam cannot require Bob to pay his balance in full because the payment in kind is a valid consideration. So payment in kind is valid or invalid consideration, guys. What is the theory behind? There is a rule when it comes to these part payments. Okay. Consideration means what? The payments that you need to receive needs to be sufficient, not adequate. So in this case, what is happening is Bob is telling, hey, see, I don't have money to pay. I'm in a financial difficulty. Okay. So I'm not in a position to recover the 50% of your cash. Instead, I'll do services for the upcoming year or free services for his car. Now, in this situation, this payment in kind is a valid consideration. So, in according to the law, when you're taking the law into consideration, law tells the consideration needs to be sufficient, not adequate. When I say adequate, you can't recover 100% from a person if you have recovered the sufficient amount. So now you might get a problem in your thinking, right? Okay, how to decide this situation, whether the payment is valid or invalid? Now see the justification from the Bob's case. What happens is he is not in a position, he's literally financially not in a position to pay Adam. Okay. So in that case, it is becoming reasonable and equitable for law to say, okay, the considerations that we are expecting needs to be sufficient, not needs to be adequate, which means in this situation, Adam cannot expect Bob to pay 100% of his money that he's owing to. Okay. At the moment, whatever the payment he has made will be a valid consideration. Okay. But let me discuss the other comments also. Adam can require Bob to pay his full balance because the payment is not kind, not payment in kind is not valid consideration. No, this payment in kind is a valid consideration. Payment in kind, it becomes a valid consideration. So you can't choose the option 2. Option 1, they're telling that Adam can require Bob to pay his full balance in the value for the car servicing is less than the accounting fees owed. So that is also not sufficient, which means that doesn't make any evidences to this case. So when it comes to the Adams case, the learning from this case that we need to understand is when it comes to considerations, kind means what you are giving some promises. Okay. So you are telling that I'm not in a position to pay. So you are informing in prior and you also agree to that information. So now you can't go and put a case against this person because if he is not in a position to settle and if he has already informed you, then that payment, whatever he has done up to now, becomes a kind payment. And that payment in kind becomes a valid consideration. So in the eyes of law, Adam is not in a position to recover further money from Bob. Okay. As consideration needs to be sufficient, not adequate. Okay. Moving now, the answer to this question is to be then option number 3. Option number 3 needs to be the answer. Then the next question. In regards to the Adams agreement with Dawn, identify which of the following statements are true or false. The doctrine of promissory estoppel does not apply. What is doctrine of promissory estoppel? First, you need to know that. If not, you don't know what is it about. Is it true or false? First, tell me what is promissory doctrine of promissory estoppel means. It is a situation where, okay, it is a situation where the person can claim. Okay, good. Nuha is telling us stopping the person going back on his promise. Okay. So I would also say doctrine of promissory estoppel. Okay, now tell me, Nuha, then in this situation, does the promissory estoppel applies or not? Is it applying to this situation or not? And then I'll explain to everyone. Because applies, very good. Because when you are now in the case of Dawn is telling us, okay, I'm not in a position to pay your 50%. Okay, half of the fee, I'm not in a position to pay. The promise he's giving to the to Adam, saying that, okay, I'm using this fund for my next work. Okay, I'm using this fund for my next music event. So I don't have sufficient finance to fund. So I'm not in a position for you to repay. So later, the musician is becoming successful and making a profit. In this instance, when she is enjoying the profit, it is not equal for Adam to suffer, isn't it? So if you are making money and if you have enough money, then if Adam is suffering, is it fair? It is not fair. So in this instance, the promissory estoppel means it says, okay, you can note it down. In contract law, it allows the plaintiff, who is the plaintiff? The claimant, okay, to recover the damages, despite no actual contract. So in other terms, I could say, when the defendant is making a promise, the plaintiff is relied upon, then the plaintiff's reliance on that promise was reasonable. So if that promise is reasonable, so in this case, if Adam is reasonable to claim his money back. Now you can argue means a consideration needs to be sufficient and not adequate. Yes, if the situation is reasonable. Yet again, I'm telling you, if the situation is reasonable to claim back the money, then you can claim back the money. Okay. So the doctrine of promissory estoppel does apply in this situation. They are telling that it does not apply. So that is false. Okay. Then they are telling Adam can recover the part payment if he did not accept it voluntarily. Can Adam recover the part payment if he did not accept voluntarily? Yes, he can. Adam can recover the part payment if Don took an advantage of him financially. Yes. Then Adam is falling as the innocent party. Okay. So Adam can recover in that situation. Dawn may be required to pay Adam in full because of the success of her recording. Yes. Because she is not paying Adam, saying that, no, I don't have money. See, she's telling that she owed him as she needed to use the other half to her new recording. So now this new recording is becoming a major hit and she is making money. Now she is well off. Adam is suffering. So is it fair when you are well off and Adam is suffering? No. You can't hide that situation. In the first situation, it is not the same. Here, Adam is agreeing to service the car, and Bob is not going to make his money, and Adam is agreeing to this reluctantly, anyways. In this case, also, Adam is agreeing for the half payment. However, due to this allowance or due to this promise, she is making a profit out of the same. So when she is well off, she needs to make sure Adam is also needs to be given, okay, from that money. So if Adam took financial advantage, then he can't claim that. Adam can recover the part payment if Don took financial advantage. Don has taken the, how Adam can take a financial advantage? Already Adam is in a loss, right? He's getting only 50% of the payment. So how can he claim an advantage in financial terms? He's not getting any advantage in financial terms. Okay. If Don is taking an advantage on financial terms, yes. Okay. Okay. Let's count for a break and come back. When once you guys are back, let's begin. So take now I'll consider it as 7:30. Be back by 7:50. Okay. So let's start at 7:50. So once you're back, we'll start from question number 11. You guys, I'll see you after a break. Okay. Hi guys, I hope everyone is back. So let's kick on with the questions from 11. So let's do it together. This one. How many days of holiday leave, including bank holidays, an employee is entitled to receive? An employee is entitled to receive, including 14 annual leaves, 7 casual leaves, and 7 other bank holidays. So in total, he is entitled to receive 28 days as an employee. The maximum, or the minimum number of days is 28 days. Okay. So the 12th one, Leah was recently dismissed from employment when her employer found out she was pregnant. So what types of a dismissal is this example for? Is it a constructive dismissal? Is it a wrongful dismissal, or it's an unfair dismissal? If it is a constructive dismissal, means you need to breach a contract in your employment. This is not wrongful dismissal. This is an unfair dismissal. This is an unfair dismissal because becoming pregnant. So if you become pregnant and if I dismiss you on an unfair term, I mean, if I dismiss you, that is unfair. That is not wrong. That is unfair for you. Okay. 13th one. Let me create a poll for you. 13th one. Do it yourself. Okay, so let's discuss. In the context of contract law, what is the effect of counter offer on the original offer? So when you make a counter offer, it's an acceptance? No. Is it an acceptance? No. The first two you are not going to choose. If you have chosen, you need to refer to your notes very thoroughly. A counter offer means it's a rejection of an original offer. It's a rejection of an original offer is known as counter offer. Okay, the 14th one. Let's pass the easy ones quick, but 14th one, I need an answer from everyone. So let me create a quiz for you. Question number 14. There are four options. Save to meeting poll. Okay, I'm giving 30 more seconds for this to choose an answer. Let me end this poll. Okay. So holding companies may give creditors of their subsidiary companies a letter of comfort. Okay. You know what is letter of comfort, right? You can say, yes, these are our subsidiary, and you are just informing that you can, this X company is considered as our subsidiary. So we'll see regarding the ability of the subsidiaries to pay its debts. What is the legal effect of a letter of comfort? So when it comes to letter of comfort, we discuss this particular part in our theoretical class as well. Okay. It is legally binding on the holding company only? No, it is not a legal document. First, you need to understand letter of comfort is not a legally binding contract. So all these three are not your options. It is not legally binding on the holding company or subsidiary company. It is just a recommendation letter. It is not an letter which causes a legal impact, because subsidiary needs to be responsible for their liabilities. A recommendation letter is something else. A letter of comfort is just shows that you are part of us, but we don't recommend to pay your dues. Okay, so that subsidiary has to bear it. So that is the effect of law. So always remember, the letter of comfort doesn't, it is not a legally binding letter. Okay, right. 15th one. Yet again, let me create a poll. Okay, let's end the poll. Okay, in relation to the tort of negligence, in relation to the tort of negligence, which of the following describes the standard of care expected from individuals? So, what's the standard of care in the tort of negligence that you are expecting? What can be a reasonably expected of them personally in circumstances, not personally in circumstances? What a reasonable person would do in the circumstances, what is the person is actually capable of doing in the circumstances, what is actually possible to do in the circumstances. The standard of care in a negligent situation, you will be looking into what a reasonable person would have done in that circumstance. So based on that only you will judge the situation. So the standard of care will be taken into consideration if a reasonable person is taking up this situation, how he would have handled. So that is the base that you would consider in order to consider as a standard of care under a tort of negligence, under when you are committing a wrongful act, in other terms. Okay. So the next question, what is the effect of volunteer non-fit injuria? I would have mentioned so many times in this, I mean, not in this session, but specifically in the theoretical class. What is volunteer non-fit injuria means what? It's a direct definition. They're asking the definition. It is the situation where you are going to defend yourself. It is a situation where it's a complete defense in an action of negligence. So it is a situation where you are going to defend yourself. Okay. So this is one mode of defending. So that's a direct one. We would have discussed that so many times. Okay. Question number 70. We'll discuss it together. Bankruptcy cases are heard by which division of the High Court? QBD, FD, or CD? Bankruptcy cases are handled at Chancery Division. It is bankruptcy cases are handled at Chancery Divisions. So QBD mainly deals with what? QBD mainly deals with contract law cases and tort law cases. Okay. So family division deals with the family related cases. Okay. Then 18th one, that's we'll discuss it together yet again. In relation to the general rules of statutory interpretation, which of the following is the rule that states to express one thing is by the implication to exclude anything else? That is expressio unius est exclusio alters, which means it's to express one thing by the implication to exclude anything else. Okay. So then what do you mean by nocita assois means what? What do you mean by that? So nocita assois means, let me give a definition for that as well. You can say it is presumed that words draw the meaning. The words draw the meaning from those around. I can say in that way, yeah. Okay. So nocita sois means what? It is presumed that words draw the meaning from those around them. Right. So, what do you mean by in pari materia? What do you mean by in pari materia? So, I'll give a definition for that as well. That is, let me put in these words. If the statute forms part of a series, so statute form part of a series, what happens here? Hold on, guys. Form a part of a series on a similar subject. Okay, that would do. So, expressio unius est exclusia altras means to express one thing by the implication to exclude anything else. Okay, so these are some statutory interpretations. Then, nocita soit means it is presumed that the words store the meaning which is around them. In pari materia means the statute forms a part of a series on a similar subject. It forms a part of a series on a similar subject. Take on the 19th one. 19th is an easy one. Right. Which of the following contracts will Consumer Rights Act 2015 apply to? So, Consumer Rights Act applies to customers to business, not business to business. Can't have a contract between business to business. It needs to apply in a relationship where a customer and a business is involved. The supply of commercial goods from one business to another, no, it does not apply. Consumer Rights Act does not apply there. A contract made in relation to family law, no. A mobile contract from a telecommunications company to a private individual, yes, here there is a customer and here is the company. An employment contract, no, it's not a consumer. So your answer needs to be C. See, it needs to be a C to B contract. Then only consumer right is applying to that, not a B to B relationship. Okay, next one. Try the next one. Right. Let's check. In negligence, what is the limit the defendant's liability for damages? The full losses incurred by the claimant, the losses defendant could be reasonably foresee, the amount of losses the defendant can afford to pay. What should be the answer? It is not the amount he can afford to pay, or it is not the full losses. The losses needs to be defended that could be reasonably foresee, because you know that in a consideration when you're paying for damages is the financial terms. You pay damages in financial terms. So consideration needs to be sufficient, not adequate. So which means you can't claim the full losses. You need to claim the reasonable losses. Okay, right. So now we are done with the second set. So let's move to another question of the task, the second one. Okay. So I give you 10 minutes here. This is the case. So in next, now it's 8:12. So 8:22, we are going to discuss this case. So which is the second. Yeah. You got two questions here. You got 10 minutes. Read it and do it. Within 10 minutes, we'll discuss this question. Okay, let's discuss this case. You need a minute. C, D, and F formed an ordinary partnership to run an art gallery. Each of them paid 100,000, each of them, okay, paid 100,000 into the business. A, as FI, no prospect of raising any more money. It was agreed between them that her maximum liability, so whose maximum liability fees, maximum liability of the partnership debts would be fixed at her original contribution of £100,000. The partnership agreement specifically restricted the scope of the partnership business for the sale of paintings, sculptures, and other works of art. In January 2010, she took 10,000 from partnership bank drawn on its own overdraft facility. She had told the bank the money was to finance a short-term partnership debt, but in fact, she used the money to pay for a holiday. No, she's taking for her personal use. But in February, Dai entered into £25,000 worth of contract on behalf of the partnership to buy some books which she hoped to sell at the gallery. Okay. So now let's see what are the legal complications or questions that arises. Which of the following partners are liable to repay the overdraft created by Chi? So who are liable for this situation? Is it C only, or C and D, or D and F, or C, D, F? What should be the option? Okay. Here, though, who is taking the loan? Yeah, C. Though C is taking the loan from partnership business account and she is using for her personal use, still the loan is taken from the business account. So if it is taken from the business account in a partnership business, all partners are jointly liable for that situation. All partners are jointly liable for this situation. So in this case, all C, D, and F is liable for this situation. All three partners is responsible here. Yes, you can say that C has taken for her personal use, but she has taken from business account. So when it falls into the business account, so all the partners are liable for that debt. Okay, right. That should be your first option. Then, did Dai have any authority to purchase the books? Yes or no first. First, you need to decide yes or no. Tell me yes or no. Whether Dai has yes. What sort of authority she is having? What authority she is having? She is having apparent authority. What authority she is having? Apparent authority. Why apparent authority? Because partnership agreement specifically saying that they should only sell paintings, artworks, and so forth. So by that, that is your actual authority. Or in other terms, that is your express authority. Actual or express is the same. That is your actual or your express authority. However, in this case, now she is going beyond the contract, but she is having the authority because she is buying things for the betterment of the business. Because she is thinking that buying these books, I can sell in the gallery in addition to the paintings and sculptures that I sell, so we can make more revenue. So she's thinking from everyone's perspective. So she, as a partner, she don't want to consider the others. She can buy or she can make decisions for the betterment of the business. So what sort of an authority that she is having? She is having an apparent authority to undertake the contract on behalf of the other partners. So what if they don't mention it, that restriction? Even though you don't mention that restriction, okay, so you are telling me, you are clearly putting a point saying that apart from this, any partners cannot bring anything else to the business. Then of course no, then there is an actual or express authority which restricts you. But if it is the case where you, as a partner, you can make your decision, but that decision should not put the business in trouble. And if you are making a decision which is going to be favoring the business, yes, you can. You have an apparent authority to act for the position that you're holding in the business. Okay. Then, which of the following statements about FI's liability to the partnership debts is correct? So, what is that? So, that situation, F has no liability for the partnership debts. Now, for F, what is the in the case of F? So Phi is telling that his maximum contribution is 100,000, and the other partners are agreeing to that. So in that case, if F is only liable to the third part is up to 100,000 pounds, or F is jointly liable for all partnership debts and cannot claim back any amount from C and D, or F is jointly liable for all partnership debts but may claim back any amount she is liable for over 100,000 pounds from C and D. What should be the answer? What is your guess? It shouldn't be a guess. You should have a solid answer. Okay, I got an answer from one. Others? What do you all think, guys? What do you think? What should be the appropriate situation in this? Very good. F is jointly liable for all the partnership. She is liable for all the partnership debts. That's why in the first scenario itself, she is liable for this overdraft. So all the partners are always jointly and severely liable for their debts, but she can claim back any amount that is over 100,000 pounds from the other partners, because at the start itself they are telling that your liability is only up to 100,000. So if the company is paying more than that, then that needs to be returned by the other partners to that respective partner. Okay, right. So let's move on to our MCQs back again and start from question number 21. Okay. So let me create a poll. Oh, there is something. Okay, let's discuss. So, which of the following parties does a company auditor owe their duty of care in respect to their audit report? The members personally, directors, creditors, the company as whole. An auditor owes a duty of care to the company as a whole, not to a director, not to members personally, not to creditors. They need to be accountable for the company as a whole. That is the duty of care that they take. Right. 22nd one. What do you think as the answer for the 22nd one? Okay. The terms may be implied into a contract of employment if they have certain characteristics. So, in order to imply a term, you should have three things. It needs to be reasonable. A term needs to be reasonable. And it is certain. It needs to be certain. Can't be uncertain. Needs to be certain. And another fact is that it needs to be notorious. So, which of the following, if a characteristic of a term that may be implied into an employment contract? They're specifically talking about an employment contract. So, in an employment contract, it needs to be reasonable, it needs to be certain, and it needs to be notorious. That is the characteristic of the term that we are looking for in an employment contract. So the term must be notorious. When you are implying into contracts from customs and practice. Okay, right. Try the 23rd one. Right. Which of the following is a lawful excuse? See, they are looking for a lawful excuse for not performing the contractual obligation. So you are not actually completing the task which is given to you. However, you are providing you a formal excuse, a lawful excuse. It's a situation where you are excused. For instance, during the period of COVID, we did not make any lease payments or financial payments because it was reasonable and it was a lawful excuse that you can delay or not perform that obligation. But can you defer now? You can't do that. The cost of the performance has increased from when the contract was formed. No, if the cost is increasing, it is not a lawful excuse. Performance is made more difficult due to unforeseen circumstances. The other party has made the performance impossible. So, what would be the reason? What do you think would be the reason? Now, a party will have a lawful excuse not to perform their obligation if the other party is making things impossible. That is a lawful excuse. An increase in cost is not a lawful excuse. This is not a lawful excuse. Or your performance is being more difficult means it is not a lawful excuse. You need to make sure you're performing well. Okay. So performance means it's your performance you're talking about. So it is, if you are weak, then you need to make sure you put the right resources to complete the job. So it is not a lawful excuse you can escape from that situation. Okay. If other party is making things impossible for you, that is a lawful excuse. Let's assume I'm telling that I will supply you the materials and I'm asking to finish the job by 10th. I'm giving you the materials on 9th and late night. And I'm asking you to finish on 10th. So now technically you are not completing the job by 10th because you need 5 days to work it around. Let's assume so. So are you in a situation that you are liable for this situation? No. You can give you a lawful excuse stating that. So the claimant did not want me to supply my own raw materials because he promised to give his own raw materials, but he gave it on this date and it would take 5 days to complete a task. From this date to this date, it is not a breach of a duty because even though you pass the deadline, it is not a breach of duty because the other party has made your performance impossible. Okay, make sense? Right. 24th one. It's an easy one. Let's see how many of y'all gets correct. What's the answer, guys? Certain contracts may be made orally, but are not enforceable unless they are evidenced in writing. Which of the following contract must be evidenced in writing? So the things that needs to be evidenced in writing. A lease for more than 3 years, you need to submit it by a deed, You need to form a deed. A conveyance. A conveyance also needs to be formed or contracted through a deed. You need a deed to contract them. A contract of guarantee. A contract of guarantee. You should evidence them in writing. A contract of guarantee. You should evidence them in writing. A promise not supported by consideration needs to have a deed. So all these three situations will require a deed to evidence them, except a contract of guarantee. A contract of guarantee should be evidenced in contract in writing. Okay, 25th one. Give me an answer to the 25th one. Right. In a company with more than one member, what is the quorum for a class meeting? To have meeting of shares, right? Two persons, three persons, five-person, two-person who is holding at least a third of the nominal value of the shares in the class, or holds at least half of the nominal value of the shares in the class, who holds at least three quarters of the nominal value of shares in the class. So in a company with more than one member, the quorum for a class meeting is two-person who holds at least a third of the nominal value of shares in the class. Needs to be, it's clearly stated in your share capital area, right? So under that chapter, they have clearly stated that it needs to be two-person who hold at least a third of the nominal value of the shares in the class. It has been clearly instructed. Okay, 26th one. Try 26th. So in an event of a compulsory liquidation order has been granted, which of the following is true? Or an insolvency practitioner is appointed by the liquidator. Is that correct? All employees are automatically dismissed. Any legal proceeding against the company that are in progress at that time of the liquidation order are allowed to continue. The company's directors, the company's directors continue to run the company while the liquidation process is going on. As once the liquidation order has been granted, okay, automatically all the employees are getting dismissed. That's the first thing. Then the official receiver. The official receiver is appointed as a liquidator. Who is appointed as a liquidator? The official receiver. In an event of a compulsory liquidation, okay, an official receiver is acting as a practitioner. Then he will run as a liquidator. Okay, he will run as a liquidator and runs the company during the liquidation process. So he is the person who will handling the process of the liquidations. Then all the existing proceedings, if you have any existing proceedings, needs to be halted. You can't continue. It needs to get halted. It needs to get stopped. And you can't commence any new process. Okay. And the company's directors cannot anyways run any processes. You can't continue any new process, or you can't continue the existing processes that you are holding. Everything will be seized. Everything will be freezed. Okay. So an insolvency practitioner is not appointed as the liquidator. An official receiver should be appointed as a liquidator. Okay. So in this case, all the employees are automatically getting dismissed in terms of compulsory liquidation. So at a situation of a compulsory liquidation, what's the learning points? All the employees are getting automatically dismissed. Okay. Then official receiver is appointed as a liquidator. You can't process with any existing operations that you do. Also, directors all should stop or cease all the process what they are dealing with. Right. 27th one. What is the rule for a valid consideration? That should be an easy answer, and every one of you should get correct. Right. Don't be blind with this question. See, they're asking which of the following is a rule for a valid consideration. To be a valid consideration, what needs to be the rule? Consideration must pass from the promisor. It's not from the promisor. It must pass from the promise. So it is not valid. It should, a consideration must pass from the promise, not from the promisor. Then consideration must be adequate, not necessarily sufficient. No, it needs to be sufficient, not adequate. It needs to be the other way around. Then performance of the promise must be possible. To be a valid consideration, the performance must be possible. So promise must be given in writing. So promise does not have to be given in writing. It does not require us to give in writing. So remember the rule of a valid consideration. The consideration must pass from the promise, not the promiser. Consideration must be sufficient, not necessarily adequate, is correct. But here they have mentioned it's other way around. It needs to be adequate, not sufficient. So performance of the promise must be possible. So when you do things, the performance needs to be possible. That is gives rise to a valid consideration. A promise must be in writing. No, it does not needs to be in writing. 28th one. Which of the following court of or which of the following is the final court of appeal in the number of Commonwealth countries? Number of Commonwealth countries, okay? They're asking which of the following is the final court of appeal. The final court of appeal for the Commonwealth countries, I'll help you all in this situation, needs to be the Privy Council. So the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council is the final court of appeal for number of Commonwealth countries. Okay. Next, 29. Give a chance to the 29. You all should get right. So see in this question, which of the following is a right is given to a debenture holder who is having a fixed charge? Will debenture holders get dividends? No. Can they vote? It's not shares, right? They can't vote. Can they vote in companies' resolutions, affect them as a debenture holder? No. A debenture holder is having the right to prevent the company from selling the asset which is secured by their charge, because you have provided them a charge. So they have the right to secure that charge. They can stop the company selling that asset. So that's the right that they are getting. Okay. So last question for the day. So they're talking about Consumer Rights Act 2015 and they're asking which is not correct. So they're asking for the incorrect answer. It is the incorrect answer. A term restricts consumers' legal right is void. So that is a correct statement. A term allows business to unilaterally alter the terms of the contract is void. That is correct. A term that is deemed unfair cannot be enforced by the consumer is not correct. A term that deemed unfair cannot be enforced by the consumer is not correct. So under the Act, under the Consumer Rights Act, the terms which are void includes, which restricts the consumer's legal rights and those who are allowing businesses unilaterally in the terms of the contract. So a term which is deemed unfair be enforced by the consumer is incorrect. Okay. Actually, it needs to be a term may be enforced or may enforce a term which deemed unfair. If they have mentioned in that way, then it is also correct. Here it is becoming wrong because they are saying it is cannot be enforced. So if the term is unfair, of course, consumer has the right. They are telling that they cannot enforce by the consumer. No, if the term is unfair, then you can report. Okay, so they are saying it's cannot. So it is not correct in terms of Consumer Rights Act 2015. Okay, guys. So I hope we discussed few things today. Okay, so you would have understood the essence. Yeah, I'll share you this paper in the group so you can answer the rest of the questions. And no worries, I will discuss the answers from question number 31 to 45 in the next session, and all the other three task questions in our next session. So I'll meet you all next Tuesday, and make sure you are learning something out of this, and uh, doing these papers would make more sense. Otherwise, you guys will be lost in the questions, or the if you do only the theoretical study, you will be lost elsewhere. Okay, so make your summaries. Now it is a time to give more practice to questions and see whether you have understood that area. So if it is not understood, then what you need to do is you have to go back to your theory and read it carefully and see. Now, in law specifically, most of the terms are not convenient to you, or those terms are not helpful, or you are not in a position to understand as soon as you read. You got it. So then refer the meaning of it. Then try to understand what they are trying to say there, and then understand the concept. It's very important because you need to make judgments at certain points. Okay. So recap these things again. I will send you the question for you all to practice in the WhatsApp group, so that you can practice these questions again. Okay. So then I'll meet you all next week, and thank you everyone for your participation, and have a good night. Okay. Bye, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Bye. Good night.